right, guys, so now we're going to move on to the next three examples on solving these next three different type of quadratics. So for the first one, it says solve 6p squared plus 72p equals 0. Step 1, make sure it's set equal to 0. Check. Step 2, factor the quadratic. Now this factoring method we need to use here is GCF because there's a greatest common factor of 6p between each of them. So we factor out the 6p and we're left with p plus 12. And then you have to remember to bring that equals 0 down or you're going to lose points in the future. Next one, tee off your factors. Now your factors are right here. So we break them up between the multiplication that's happening. We set then each factor equal to 0. So we do 6p equals 0 and p plus 12 equals 0. And now we solve each factor for x. So we're going to divide by 6. I get p equals 0 for the first answer, minus 12, and I get p equals negative 12 for the second answer. So I put my answers in solution set brackets, and now check your answers in your calculator if you want to. Otherwise, pause the video and make sure you get this all down. Now on to the next one. It says solve x squared minus 36 equals 0 for the positive value of x. So at the end, we're only going to take the positive value. So my first step is I'm going to just rewrite it so I have room. Set equal to 0, check, factor. Now this is not GCF. This is a difference of two squares. So difference of two squares requires us to set up two sets of parentheses, put a plus or minus in each. Square root the first term, square root of x squared goes here. Square root the second term, your 6 goes here. And then I'm going to tee off my factors, set each of the factors equal to 0. And now we're going to solve each little equation. Subtract 6 from both sides, you get x equals negative 6. Add 6 to both sides for this answer, and you get x equals positive 6. Now again, go back. Said we want the positive value for x. So the only answer we're going to get here is x equals 6. Another thing I want to let you know is that we sometimes do something called reject the answer that is not needed. So you're telling the grader, oh, I read the information and we only want the positive answer. We will be doing this later on in the future with our word problems. Okay, pause the video and make sure you get this down. On to the next and the last question. It says solve w squared plus 16w minus 17 equals 0. Now this one for the negative value of w. So now we're going to reject the positive one. So this one again is already set equal to 0. So we're good to go. This is a trinomial, so we're going to group it. So we're now going to put our coefficient there. We're going to multiply it with negative 17. So the factors of negative 17 are positive 1, negative 17, negative 1, positive 17. So which one there will give me my positive 16? That will be those two. So I bring down my w squared. I separate the 16w to minus 1w plus 17w. Bring down your minus 17 and your equals 0. Now I just want to erase this because it's going to get in the way. Now, next step, group it. We're going to group up the w's here and the 17s. Divide out our w from each term. So we're left with w times w minus 1. Divide out 17 from each term. So we're left with plus 17 times w minus 1 equals 0. I'm continuing to bring it down. Now we factor out our GCF of w minus 1. Write my leftover in the other factor. W plus 17 equals 0. And now we're going to tee it off. So we tee off our w minus 1 equals 0. And we get our w plus 17 equals 0. Very important you write this step down. Now for the next one, we can skip the solving because you could do this in your head. W minus 1 equals 0. Therefore, w equals positive 1. W plus 17 equals 0. Therefore, w equals negative 17. So you could do that in your head. That's a one-step equation. That's fine. Now we go back. We want our negative value. So we know we want w equals negative 17 and not the w equals 1. So we're going to reject the other one. Reject. And our final answer would be W equals negative 17. You could check your answer in your calculator, but just make sure you pause the video and get all this down. And you're going to now try the rest of the questions on the Google form by yourself.